Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome once again to MGM Healthcare's Facebook Live Kids Health Talk, a series of talks from MGM Children's, the Department of Pediatrics and Neonatology at MGM Healthcare, Chennai. In this series, we have pediatricians and pediatric associate specialists come to speak to us about various health related talks with regards to children that we think that parents and families will find useful. Today is 14th February, and we are doing a special session for a special group of people. That is, adolescents. 14th February is celebrated as a season of love. So we have done this special session because we would like to talk about a special kind of love. That is this love for adolescents for their own bodies, self-love, a very important form. As you know, adolescence is a time where children undergo a huge lot of change, a transition, physical, mental, psychological, emotional. And this is associated with the development of a body image. Now, whether this body image development is positive or negative depends a lot on this time. And in this last decade, adolescents, in addition to facing these numerous changes, are also dealing with a tsunami of social media. Images coming from left, right, and center every second. And all of these images affect how their body image forms. So that is why we're having this special session with the special set of guests to talk to us, talk to adolescents and their parents about how do we guide adolescents to develop a positive body image. Today we have with us Dr. Deepa Isha, Senior Consultant Pediatrician and part of our team at MGM Children's. We also have with us our Consultant Child Psychiatrist, Dr. Venkateshwaran, and we have with us Ms. Vijayashri, our Head Dietitian at MGM Healthcare. They are all going to speak to us on different aspects on what constitutes this body image development in adolescents and how we can, as parents and family and concerned members, bring about a positive body image in adolescents, which will keep them away from so many illnesses. So, welcome all. Dr. Deepa, we'll start with you. Could you tell us and our families about all the changes that normally happens in adolescence?
Good afternoon. So, as Dr. Nisha mentioned in her introductory statements, adolescence is a period where there are a lot of changes taking place in a child. So, according to WHO, the period between the ages of 10 to 19 years is known as the adolescent period. And this is a period when there is a transition from a child to becoming an adult. So, there are a lot of changes taking place physically, there are a lot of changes taking place in the brain, in the skin, in so many different ways. And so you can see why it becomes a very difficult period for children. So to start with the physical changes that take place, let me begin by saying that most of these changes that take place during adolescence is all because of hormonal changes. Hormones play a major role in bringing about many of these changes. So children tend to grow bigger, they tend to grow taller, they tend to put on weight. All of this happens during this period of adolescence. And as we've all seen, girls tend to show this pubertal growth spurt a little earlier than what boys do. So that is a normal phenomenon. It's not that there's something wrong with the boy and that's a reason why he's not growing. So if there is a boy and a girl in the house, so never compare the two. It's always the girls who tend to show this growth spurt much earlier than what the boys do. So there will be months when there will be a tremendous growth spurt where they tend to grow, and then there'll be a couple of months when the growth seems to be a little stagnant. So this is a normal routine. And the other important thing is this rate of growth is different in each child. So some children tend to show this growth spurt very early, whereas some of them are what we call the late bloomers, so they start attaining this much later. So if you compare your child to your next door neighbor who's of the same age, you might find that he's taller and he's put on a lot more weight, looking more mature, much earlier than what your child is. But that also is normal. So each child differs in the rate of growth, but ultimately each child attains full growth potential. So this is something about the physical growth. A very important aspect of this physical growth is the attainment of secondary sexual characters. Girls tend to attain to start developing organs which are necessary for them to later on enter into their reproductive health. So you can see that there will be changes in their physical body, and sometimes it's difficult for children to accept this. Some of them are embarrassed by it, and it is important that parents play a major role in helping them by telling them what all of this is about. So the other important thing that takes place is the skin starts changing. See, the glands start secreting a lot more of oil, and it becomes very oily. So because of that, a lot of these adolescent children have problems with acne, that is pimples, and some of it can be quite troublesome, and children are quite distressed by it. It is a normal phenomenon. It is only because of the hormonal changes. Another important change that occurs in boys is suddenly one morning they get up to see that their voice has changed. Their voice starts cracking, and sounds quite funny to many of them, and that is again is a normal developmental variant. As a child grows, the voice is going to deepen and it is going to become normal. So it is not anything worrying. It is a normal change that takes place. So this is the other thing. The other change that takes place, a major change that takes place, is in their brain. Unfortunately, the brain matures from back to front. So what happens is the hypothalamus, which is a seat of emotions, tends to mature much earlier than the prefrontal cortex, where all judgment and control and all that mature. So now you can see why adolescents generally are very emotional. They tend to have outbursts of anger. They tend to do things at an emotional level. That's basically because of the way their brain has developed. And it takes almost 20, 25 years for the prefrontal cortex to start maturing and for the child to start exercising control and judging that something is wrong, something is too risky, something is not safe, and things like that. So you can see why we need to be more compassionate to them and realize that that is a reason why they do a lot of things which we would call risky. So along with this, they go through a lot of emotional changes. So emotional changes where, because they are showing all these changes, they're becoming taller, they're becoming bigger. Some of them are almost reaching their parents' height. So what they want to do is they want to start exerting independence. But at the same time, they realize that they cannot live independently. So there is a certain amount of dependence with parents. They want to start doing things on their own. So they don't like it when parents correct them and things like that. So this is something that is very normal in what adolescents go through. And as parents, as caretakers, we need to be a little bit more compassionate towards them in handling them, because these are all normal changes that take place in their body as they are growing. Regarding the physical growth, many of them feel that they have not attained the perfect figure, or many boys feel that they have not developed the muscles that they need. This is because the growth in each individual is disproportionate. You see that the head and the extremities, that is the finger, the hands and the feet, grow first, and only then it is the arms and the legs. So, and after that, only the body starts growing. So you can see that during this period of growth, there can be a bit of disproportion, and many adolescents are worried about that. They feel that, they're not the right body shape. And that again is not necessary, because this is a part of the growth, and ultimately they will reach their potential, and they will get the proper body image. So it is important that during this period of growth, they don't develop any negative impressions about their body. They should realize that this is a passing phase, and they are going to attain their full potential when growth is completed. And as I said, the period is between 10 to 19, and beyond that also, as I said, the brain takes it's almost by age 25 that it attains full maturity. So this is a passing phase, and during this phase they need all the support that they need, and they need to love the way that they are looking each year, because it is a changing phase and they are going to attain their full potential.
Thank you very much, Dr. Deepa. That is really a comprehensive view of all the changes that adolescents undergo. And clearly, it is such a big change. So, Dr. Venkateshwaran, the next question is for you. Could you tell us, so along with adolescence and the changes that happen, they also develop a body image. So what is this body image? Is one's perception of one's own body. Could you tell us all the factors that go into developing this body image, and what are all the factors that affect this?
Good afternoon, everyone. So the body image, as Madam have told, can you hear me first? First of all, yeah. As Madam was telling, there are so many hormonal and physical changes, and as well as she actually took my part as well, psychological change, how prefrontal cortex develops and how it matures late, and how this amygdala. There's so many social and psychological reason for the body image. They go to school, they interact with their peers. They see movies, like they are in social media, so they get various inputs regarding body image. So this is how it should be. This is how mainly, like, they get carried away with movies and way these actors, like, they project themselves, so they want that perfect body image. To have They want to have this perfect body image. So when something goes wrong due to normal development, when something goes wrong due to the normal hormonal factors or constitutional factors, because each one will have their own looks, because it is familiarly inherited. Okay, the face, hair color, etc., etc. When they want it to be like stereotype, then it results in lots of body image disturbances. Okay, the one thing is, the common thing which influences body image is this social inputs from media, from movies, and other significant aspects. The second thing is interpersonal. These kids go through lots of bullying and other aspects in school. Like, if somebody bully, hey, you look fat, so it's small, they would have just casually, they would have told. But the adolescents, since with all these hormonal and physical changes, they take it very seriously, and it will have a huge impact in the formation of their own body image. Okay, so okay, I don't look good, so my friend herself has told that I look bad. So they just stick onto it. For example, sometimes like, even some teachers and other, even we doctors, like, we casually comment. So, like, you have to shed some weight for health related reasons, but they take it very seriously and they keep preoccupied about it, and they will have a huge psychological stress related to it. And there are lots of interpersonal and romantic issues that start at this age, and they will have a significant body image issues secondary to that. I want to look good before this person, I want to look very perfect before this person. All these things contribute and lead to body image disturbances, which lead to some psychological impact. Do you want me to go ahead with the abnormal body image, or, like, shall we reserve it for the next thing?
You can go ahead with that.
Yeah.
Talk
So,
about the abnormal body image.
yeah.
Yes.
So, normal body image is this. Like, I want to emphasize on three, four situations where the body image disturbance happens, and that cannot be left just like that. Because, yeah, I can compare that with the COVID. Okay, why there are so many deaths in COVID? Because the patient present. The common reason that has been quoted is patient present late to the hospital. Why? They think it is simple flu. Okay, they think it is all normal, like some running nose, some cough, and it will get over. Suddenly, eighth day, ninth day, the COVID worsens, and after that, it is unsalvageable. Like this, there are some psychological conditions where the body image disturbance has to be taken seriously. I'll give you some three situations. First is, if the body image disturbance is part of delusions. Okay, so how can we find out? Normal body image disturbance is very common in adolescence. So, if a body image disturbance, okay, I don't look good, my nose is not right, my skin color is not right, I don't look very lean, my face is not in the right shape. When these disturbance is associated with withdrawal, social withdrawal, the person who before or after this, like, get himself or herself withdrawn from the family, friends, cognitive decline, if they keep deteriorating in studies, or excessive gadgets, or excessive, like, stereotypical use of things, like they isolate themselves and keep using one of these things, and aggressive behavior on and off, even small thing they get very emotional aggressive, then this body image disturbance should be taken seriously. It is part of some major mental illness. Okay, it can be part of evolving schizophrenia, delusional disorder, etc. Okay, so this situation needs immediate medical help, because if we treat this early, then we can actually do a world of good to that particular adolescence. This is situation one. Second, if the body image disturbance can be part of obsessive compulsive disorder. Okay, now they are grouped under body image disturbance along with OCD as per recent DSM classification. So what are the symptoms? Excessive preoccupation about body image. Okay, the adolescents keep thinking about body image all the time. It results in dysfunction in studies and other routine. Okay, here, in contrary to the first situation, here the adolescent himself or herself will tell us, I couldn't get over the thought, even though I know everything is perfect, even though I know my body is fine, but I get recurrent thoughts about my body image. I feel like my something is wrong with my body, so I couldn't get over it. I feel very anxious, I feel very depressed. Sometimes they themselves will communicate. Or otherwise, some some adolescents will involve in compulsive behavior. They keep checking, or they keep exercising, they keep putting other makeup and other things, so they compulsively keep doing these things repeatedly over the day, in the course of the day, resulting in dysfunction in other domains of the life. When they are very anxious, or when they are involving in compulsive behavior, then this body image disturbance can be part of obsessive compulsive disorder. This cannot be ignored. The third situation, not exactly body image, but sometimes conditions like eating disorder, like there is something called anorexia nervosa, where the adolescents feel, I'm very big, I'm fat. Okay, even though they weigh normally, their BMI is normal, even though everyone in the home and even doctor reassure, like they are fine, you look good, your BMI is fine, they keep preoccupied about that. And what they will do is they will start dieting. They will start dieting sometimes so extreme that their BMI starts coming down and end up with medical complication. If you, along with body image disturbance, if you see these kind of losing weight and extreme dieting, then it is not just body image disturbance of adolescence. It can be part of eating disorder, and this also require immediate medical help. Common psychological outcome, there is another entity called adjustment disorder. Sometimes because of all these physiological changes, they may look little plumpy, they may look very lean. Okay, so here they will have lots of adjustment disorder. They know they are realistic about their body image, but as they grow up, as they involve in healthy life practice, they will be in shape. But like usually the tendency in adolescence, they'll be little impulsive, they want things to happen just like that. Okay, so they may keep worrying about it. This is adjustment disorder. This, as they grow up, it will improve. Doesn't require much psychological intervention. All it requires is just a support. But in other three categories I told, these are the things which, when we intervene early, we can do a world of difference. But if we leave it late, then the prognosis actually poor in the previous circumstances.
Um, so, Miss Vijayshri, could you tell us about talking about the various diets that so with abnormal body image and with negative body image mostly, children and adolescents turn towards different kinds of diets. So, could you tell us what you have seen as diets that adolescents explore, and what your opinion is of these?
Good evening, viewers. When it comes to food nutrition among teenagers, the two extremes. One extreme, they never bothered about diet or their body image and health, nothing, and they are addicted to social media and they ignore outdoor playing. And what happens at the age of 12 and 14 years, we do see patients with 100 kgs. And there is the other extreme where only body shape is their health. They consider thin body shape is a healthy body, and they concentrate more on that. More than health, it is more of beauty related concept for them. And they follow fat diet, which is not prescribed by the professionals. And fat diet includes keto diet. Keto diet is basically, long years back, they have initiated to treat epilepsy, to control the brain's activity. So that includes 80% of the fat. Imagine calories, 80% of the calories from fat, how much fat that person is taking in a day. And avoiding cereals for avoiding carbohydrate. So what happens? Your organs, such as your liver, is overloaded. The hypermetabolism. That is what they lose weight even following a keto diet. The another popular fat diet is the paleo diet, where they eat more protein. Almost 40 to 50% of the calories from protein. What will happen to the kidneys? So much of ammonia waste to be excreted by the kidneys. So your kidneys may get affected. And there is a lot of every day, if you open social media or paper, newspaper, you see one each day one new uh, diet, fat diet. Like last week, one inquiry about egg diet. I never heard about it. That means eating egg only throughout the day. The number of eggs they prescribe for egg diet is 20 to 25 eggs per day, nothing else. So these type of fat diets really put your organs under tremendous stress, and in future, or in a period of time, you may get chronic illness. So that is why a lot of people at the younger age, they even complain that a lot of hair loss, skin problems, and so many small micronutrient related deficiency we can see. So that is the other extreme. So when come to male girls and boys, they have different style. The male want to look more muscular, and the female want to look thinner, not even normal weight, they want to look thin. So whatever they can do to get that goal, they do. They avoid certain foods, they even stop eating, and end of the day what happens? They do lose weight. All this fat diet encourages people to do more dieting, because you can see the weight loss. What happens is, after sometimes, psychologically, you will feel that tired, physically tired, and psychologically little low, and you stop your dieting and start eating more. That is called binge eating, and again you feel guilt, and then again you do the diet, again you it's a cycle. So end of the day, you because of the body image, you will be put into deep depression. So that is the psychological thing which happens. So this is how there is two type of adolescent people nowadays, and this is what happening right now, which is to be corrected, and by the with the help of the parents and the experts.
Thank you very much. That was really a insight into the different types of diets that are available, and that's just a few of them. There are many, many more. So going again to Dr. Deepa, so in this situation where you have adolescents developing a body image, undergoing all these changes, what is your advice to parents to suggest how to develop this positive body image rather than going down a negative body image? How to develop a positive body image?
I think a very important question. So I think what parents can do is to start off a child nearing the age of puberty. I think it's important that parents sit and have a talk with the child, talk to the child about the changes that are expected in the child's body, and prepare the child for what the child is going to what is going to happen in the body for the next couple of years. So when you kind of tell the child that this is what is going to happen, then the child is prepared. The child is not caught off guard. So that's one thing. So it's important that parents talk to children, and children are not caught off guard, and they don't get information from sources which are not reliable. So it is always better that a reliable person speaks to them. So if a parent is unable to talk to the child about things like this, it's always good to bring the child to a pediatrician who will be able to talk to the child and tell them, that these are the changes that are going to take place in your body, which is absolutely normal, and what you need to do to keep yourself healthy during that face. So that is the first thing that can be done. The second thing that can be done is parents need to realize that each child is different. So never compare your child with another child in the same family or with your next door neighbor. As I said before, each child develops, matures differently. So if your next door neighbor is looking muscular and your child is still looking very thin and very small, never compare. This child is going to reach that child's potential by the time the child completes the age. So you need to give the child confidence that, it doesn't matter. You just concentrate on being healthy and you will reach your potential. So never compare. That's the second thing. The third thing is never joke about a child's appearance, even as a joke, during family functions or when you're sitting and having dinner. Never trivialize a child's concern. A child might be concerned about his skin color, his or her skin color, or he might feel that he's very short or very fat or whatever it is. Never make a joke out of it, because a child, as I said, they're very emotional at this age and they are unable to take it as a joke, and it can leave lasting imprints in their mind that they are not normal and there is something abnormal in them. So that's the other thing that parents should not do. Parents are always role models. So if a parent is all the time concerned about his body or her body image, and the parent is putting down his body and saying, oh, why am I looking like this, why am I so dark, and it's because I'm so dark that my child is dark, or I'm so fat and that's the reason. So when a parent is putting down his or her own body like that, the child is going to pick up cues and the child is going to think, oh, okay, so I'm going to follow in the same step, so I'm also going to not be acceptable to society. So it's important that parents have a healthy esteem of their own bodies and be confident of who they are. The other thing is, during conversations at home, parents should always talk about an individual as a whole. Never comment about a person, about their external appearance, and never talk about a fat person or a dark person or a fair person, in front of the child. So when parents make comments like that, children take up cues and feel that this is what is important. It doesn't matter how kind they are, how good they are in any of their academic activities or in any other domain. It all boils down to how do they look externally. So children feel that that is what is important. So it's the way parents talk, day in and day out, and this starts very early in life. So that is something that parents should be very careful about. And as Vijayasree was talking, it is more about health and not about fads. So the whole family should encourage healthy eating and not go on these diets, just because a child is overweight or the child is underweight. Instead, the whole family should cultivate this healthy eating habits and a healthy lifestyle where they have enough physical activity. And physical activity should not be, children should not be told to do physical activity to lose weight. So when you do it like that, what happens is immediately the child develops a negative connotation. Oh, I'm overweight, and that is the reason why I have to do it. Instead, you can make a child do a physical activity to develop endurance, to develop stamina, and just to be good at that sport, just to be good at that activity. So when that is a motivation and the whole family is involved in it, then the child realizes that all of this is needed for a healthy life. So, and then of course, see, adolescence is, they're a group of people who actually are nowhere, because small children have pediatricians who they go to. Once they are an adult, they go to a physician. So this adolescent age group are neither here or there. So there isn't anyone who really takes responsibility for them. And so I would encourage parents to realize that adolescents also require their frequent health checks. So it's good to be in touch with the pediatrician who does the frequent health checks, who the child develops a confidence with, so that the child is able to open up about concerns about his body. So if there are concerns, say it's acne that the child is concerned about, and the child wants to talk about it, it's always easier if the child is able to talk about it, openly speak about it with a doctor who he or she has been seeing since young. So it's good to have a pediatrician who is in charge of that, who's taking care of the overall health of the child, so that the pediatrician can assess the child and do the frequent health checks to see whether there are domains in which things have to be rectified. And then, of course, as we always say, keep the child healthy, and adolescent vaccination plays a major role in that. It's also an important part of the total health package. As I said, prevention is always better than cure. So it's important that all of this is done so that the child is healthy and develops a positive body image.
Thank you so much, Dr. Deepa. So many excellent points covered. So many small things that happen in everybody's houses where you talk about uh, where parents obsess about dieting and weight, and so then the adolescent is listening to that. All of these have studies to prove that many of these things are affect adolescents' body image. So going forward, Dr. Venkateshwaran, as you told us earlier, social media and all its inputs affect how children's body image develops. So could you tell us could you tell parents how what they can do to help balance this social image sorry media effect on children's body image?
Yeah, thank you. So, uh, the influence from social media is not avoidable. Okay, have anyone like seen a movie where like a hero and heroine has been projected like okay, fat, dark, etc.? No, nothing. So at least now the stereotypes has been broken, but our mainstream media and other movies has been projecting like this is how it should be. So this is not avoidable. It means they indirectly say like this is the only way to be. Like this is the only way like where we can look good, and otherwise it is all bad. That kind of projection is being given without being very outright. So this will be taken in by the adolescents, and they go through a lot of disturbance. One thing. The second thing is uh, the again the social media comes, the Instagram, Facebook, and so many groups and so many propaganda that is going on. Okay, there's so many fitness groups where they recommend all these fat diets and other things, so they get sucked into those things, and it results in they guide them in a non-scientific way. So it results in lots of, as madam was telling, there are lots of medical problem associated with this. Okay, so but this is unavoidable. Only way like we can help them here is, as Deepa madam was telling, one thing is before they get into all these things, if we understand and try to educate them, the looks is not everything, and they will have their own course. Each child will have their own course, and if we follow just healthy life routine, then that is a best like way one can look. So if we could instill this into their head, and if we talk or if they take them to pediatrician or professionals to talk about it, then they won't, the influence of social media and other mainstream movies will come down. But if we miss that bus, they themselves browse, they themselves see, they themselves get influenced, and they end up with lots of psychological outcome. One thing. The other way is coming from this side. If we could have a good control of social media and other media behavior per se, for example, like we monitor, okay, we monitor the content, we reduce the time like where they involve in all these gadgets and social media use, and we could co-tutor means like once in a while watch with them, like see what they are seeing, like what they are browsing through. If we could have a monitoring software and monitor that, then till 18 years the parent is supposed to monitor all the usage. We cannot allow them to, okay, this is your personal, you do whatever you want. No, this is something which is dangerous, and it can put them in any sort of danger. So parents have every right to monitor. There is no secrecy about it. So if we could monitor, co-tutor, limit the usage, and displace them in the sense, if these adolescents can be involved in other healthy behavior like sports, music, or extracurricular activity, if the family have overall healthy routine, like they go out and they talk and they play, they read together, if they have that displacement, then the amount of time they will be in social media itself will be less, and exposing to abnormal content and secondary psychological outcome will be reduced. And uh, last, again, once they see that once they develop some or unhealthy um, um, unhealthy input, once they develop unhealthy thoughts, when they talk about it, if you are listening to it and if you are acknowledging the fact rather than being judgmental, then they'll be ready to talk about everything they see. But Without doing that, if the parents are going to be judgmental, and if they are going to be like punitive, and they, no, 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 like you should not have seen that, like it's all your mistake, and it's all to be blamed on you, these kind of messages if you give, they are never going to talk about it to us, and they are going to keep it to themselves, and it is going to do more harm for their mental health in the long run as well as physical health in the long run. It is all these adjustment disorders is not going to harm them in day one, but over time it is going to really harm them, and they have a higher chance of developing one or other major mental illness if it goes on for a long time. So these are the ways where they can really control media behavior and give the space to them. And along with this, like whatever madam has added, like avoid pausing very negative critical comments, and always encourage healthy lifestyle rather than looks based targets, and talk about different people having different body constitution, and how over the time they can keep it healthy rather than fat, thin, dark, fair. All those stereotypes should be broken. Okay, so that is why I started like this is the stereotypes that has been created over time by movies and other things. So it should be, we have to really try hard to break it. It is just a stereotype that is not true. Like fat diet, it's actually a fat. If I we will be happy if more and more movies coming, showing them in a this is also like in this way also you can look good, then probably our adolescents will really have a good idea about it is looks is not everything.
Thank you very much, Dr. Venkateswaran. Many very good points covered. And going forward, Ms. Vijayashree, could you tell us? So you talked to us about fad diets and how they actually affect our body negatively. So could you tell us what does science tell is a good diet, a normal diet?
Balanced diet is the mantra of good health. Balanced diet includes all food groups. Any diet which eliminates certain food groups or asking you to avoid diet or stop eating certain thing is not considered as a good balanced diet. So you should include all your 5 food groups, which is cereals, pulses, vegetable and fruits, milk and milk product and meat, and little amount of fat and sugars. These are the basic 5 food groups which should be there in your uh, diet. So, and if your child is obese and you are considering his as a health risk, you have to modify the quantity of all the food groups rather than avoiding certain food groups or increasing certain food groups. So that is the best way of reducing weight and a permanent solution for weight loss. We see people who avoided certain food after, like for example, people stop eating rice, and after a few months, and crave for eating such carbohydrate food, and you start eating and you overeat, and whatever weight you lost, and you gain double the weight. So that is what happens with the fat diet. Second thing is micronutrient deficiency. So that is, you see a lot of youngsters, teenagers coming up with anemia, one of the major health problem of Indian adolescent, and vitamin D deficiency, which is again because of poor diet and fat diet, and lower physical activity and less sun exposure, and vitamin B12 deficiency. These are the some of the micronutrient deficiency is increasing among teenagers. So how should we get all this vitamin B12 and iron and all? Is to proper balanced diet. You no need to do anything extra. Simply include every food which is natural, because every food includes lot of food items which is man-made processed. Another important thing, avoiding processed food, because nowadays the amount of processed food we eat increased a lot. You see in our kitchen shelves lot of processed ready-made, ready to use, lot of sausages, lot of hydrogenated fat is in our kitchen. So these, if you eliminate your processed food, half of the health problem will be solved. And another another point I want to highlight is the supplementation, food supplementation, which I am noticing that more and more youngsters are going for supplementation. If you see the boys, they are going for whey protein supplementation, very high amount of whey protein, which is not at all advisable at this age, and girls going for meal replacement, weight loss supplements. Both can create lot of problem because it changes your metabolism and can create problem in the maternal health, and in future may develop some illness. So it is very very important. If you, I'm not against supplement, but supplements to be taken only if necessary. Unnecessary supplements should be avoided. Another thing is family meal planning. It's very very important. There are a lot of parents coming and telling that my child is not at all eating vegetables. She or he is wanting to eat only burgers and pizzas, and who's introducing these foods to the children? It's the parents, it's the family which introduce all these food items. You should encourage your children by taking a lot of vegetable fruits and cereals. You should first follow that. Automatically your children also follow, and make your meal timing, eat with the family, during the meal time. Spread happiness among you. These things really encourage your child to eat healthy foods. And one more thing about whey protein usage for boys. It's, if a boy is 60 kgs, mostly whey protein is given to build up muscles, and if the boy is 60 kgs, they are prescribing 120 grams of protein, which is 2 grams per kg body weight, which is too high and can create a lot of changes in your metabolism. So it is either 1 or 1.2 grams per kg body weight. That is what we have to eat, not more than that. So when you are going for high protein and high fat, be careful. Always balanced diet is healthier.
Thank you very much. I wonder if there are any questions in the chat box. If not, at any point of time, thank you for listening, audience. Thank you for listening, parents. And at any point of time, if you have any questions, please enter it in the chat box. We'd be happy to answer them at any point of time. Thank you once again to all our speakers today, leaving you with a message that it is important to be aware of all the changes that adolescents face when they're entering adolescence, and what all we can do to help them develop a positive body image. Thank you.
Thank you.